Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. This is another session of Darkness in Dublin. Today we find ourselves in Dublin, where the Keeper of Elysium has asked his clanmate to visit him at his home to to talk about clan business and the predicament that the new keeper, found himself in after the last introduction of this gentleman to the prince. So, however, your character, what was his name again?
Sebastian.
Sebastian arrives. He's going to arrive at a large gate in front of an what you seem to be either a castle or a mansion or an estate, um, where it is a gated area, but you can definitely see cameras on every other every other pillar on the wall. And as you walk there, the camera aims for you specifically, and a voice comes out of a small voice box on the right side of the gate, asking, "Good evening. Who is here?"
It's Sebastian Yort to see Mr. Rothschild.
"Yes, the young master see you. Come in." And the gate goes open. It's actually just a side gate that goes open. It's just one person without a car. And as the side gate opens, you notice that it's quite a walk all the way up to the mansion. However, as you start walking, you can see that a small golf cart is coming to get you.
Uh, yep.
In this small golf cart, there is a somewhat older gentleman, not particularly very old. Just, but he does talk. He is the one that talks to you as soon as he says, "Good evening. Please come aboard."
I'll step on board with him.
Okay, then he will turn the golf cart and drive back. You can see that you're actually driving past a golf course, um, which is as you drive there seems to be well kept. You see personnel walking around, keeping the place, keeping the grounds, as well as other what you instantly notice humans um, just keeping the grounds. As you keep driving on, eventually you will come at a sort of small passing with a small house next to it. From the ground up, you can't drive on with the golf cart. There are metal and concrete pillars coming from the floor. They can be retracted, you think, but at the moment it's there as a barrier for people that would like to assault the house and charge through. So the golf cart stops. Please follow me. The man gets out of the golf cart, leaves it there, and walks past a smaller gate towards the front of the house. As you walk there, you can. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Sebastian follows him, quietly looking around, just taking in the appearance of the place.
The place is quite large. It's from the outside you can't really see how large it is because you can't see everything. But as you walk around, you can see that the house is somewhat elevated above the garden that you've just driven past. And as you look to your right side, you can see a small lake. As you walk by, you walk towards the front of the house. The front of the house has a very heavy.
You
My
disappeared.
my apologies. Yes,
Yeah.
my microphone ran out of battery in 2 seconds.
Oh.
So as you appeared, as you walk towards the house, the front door is seems to be a very woody, archy, of a heavy wood, well decorated, carved door. As you can see, The front of the door is instantly carved with a lot of with the family seal of the Rothschild family. As you walk on, the doors are closed. However, the older gentleman taps on the door, which seems to be a ring, a crest ring, and the doors are opened. The doors are opened by two heavily tattooed females wearing scarce clothing.
Yep.
You can instantly see that where they are tattooed is all revealed. It makes it quite how would you say eccentric for
Yeah.
someone who does not look eccentric on the outside, but inside his house, inside his private home, the eccentricity of his personnel that is in the house is instantly visible. Um, the women open the door. They stand at the door. They don't say anything. But who you can also see is the keeper, standing exactly in the middle of the corridor with his hands behind his back, dressed in a pinstripe suit, smiling at you.
Yep.
Dear Sebastian, welcome to my humble abode. He smirks with a smile. Obviously, it's not humble. Would you please follow me to the library?
Of
For
course.
this will be part of our talk. As he walks on, he walks past two doors. Uh, one of them is opened, one of them is closed. The open door, you can quickly see it's like a very old-fashioned drawing room. But we're walking past it. It's the room that you walk past seems very, very furnished, and some mirrors on the wall, some large paintings. But you move on. You move towards the greater hallway where you can see a flight of stairs going to the right and the left wing. Above the stairs is a huge family picture where you can see uh, Alexander as a younger man,
Yep.
as well as his father depicted as very strong uh, patriarch, along with the family, which seems to be larger than just Alexander. So Alexander walks over to the left and then steps through a door, leading you into the door, where you find yourself uh, walking into a library. It's an old, well, you would say it's an old-fashioned library. It's a library that, yeah, that would remind you of those greater libraries that they have in museums and such. As you walk into this room, there are books everywhere. There's also a desk, as you can see. The desk is currently stacked with all kinds of papers. It seems to be he was writing or in the middle of writing letters, but it's been closed off at the moment. And he takes a seat behind his desk, and you can pick whatever you choose to sit. There is a larger photo. There is a wooden chair very close to the desk. There is a couch all the way close to a very large bookcase full of books. Pick whatever you like. It's your choice.
Sebastian's going to go for the wooden chair and have a seat in that.
The wooden chair is in itself very ornate. It's not very. It's not particularly. It's not particularly unnice looking. But you can definitely see it. It seems that the chair was placed there, so you seemed like you followed protocol.
Yep.
As you've done that, Rothschild rises up from his chair again, and says, "Dear Sebastian, I've been given the task by our prince, as you know, to chaperone you into this world that we have here. Clearly, he and many of our society have been shocked with what they've seen of you. I personally rather have our bloodline leave a more positive stamp on our society, which means that I would like you to become of use to yourself, me, and the clan.
Of course. However, may I be able to be of assistance?
Well, as you can see, I like to keep up on things. I like reading a lot. And currently, I've decided that I want to increase this library with a more, what do I say, legendary or cult feeling books. I want to make sure that knowledge out there in the world does not fall into kind hands, but is here in this kindred library, where it's safe from prying eyes.
Of course.
But to do this, I need to find a person that is willing to dive into this world without my face being recognizable for some. I want somebody to find me names and titles, names of people and titles of books that are interesting to our kind.
Of course, that would be a challenge, but I believe I should be able to do that.
Well, in all honesty, Sebastian, the challenge is what I want to give you. I want to be able to prove to myself and the kindreds around us that you are ready to step into our world without a chaperone, cutting free from me, being well educated enough to survive.
Of course, that would be easiest for the both of us.
Do you have any questions? Is there something you would like to learn right now? You're here.
Would there be any restrictions on how I gather said information? Of course, aside from breaking the laws of the world.
Well, personally, I would like the names of people that are willing to either be swayed for money, swayed because they have a black page in their book, so they can be of use. People we can wield influence through. People that we can use as contacts for information. So I don't want them bleeding in the hallway, dying.
Of course not.
So if you could try to keep deaths and such at a bare minimum. After all, we might be the clan of madness. That doesn't mean that we should act like madmen.
Of course not. I never exactly planned on murdering to obtain books. That seems a bit beneath it.
Well, because it's a test, Sebastian. I leave the solving up to you. I do have an address where you can go, of course. I wouldn't kick you onto the street without any follow up.
Ah, that would be much appreciated.
This is a address that I've heard is where some people come, and one of those people seem to either have an interest in occult books and such, but also has connections with museums out there. I'm not sure what his connection is. I don't even know who it is. I just know that he comes there now and again.
Then that seems like a good place to start.
I agree. So, may I know, since you found your teeth drinking the blood of your sire, have you been taught in our rules of our society?
Partially. It seems I have not been taught much about the importance of discipline within the society.
Alright. Well,
Though I am aware that we should not we should make sure not to disclose who we actually are.
that is correct. We are a hidden society for a reason. We could rule this world, I do believe, but then again, we've seen that happen once or twice, and it never ended well.
It would be a shame for history to repeat itself.
Exactly, that would make fools of us. So, let me see. And he walks past you towards a bookcase, then pulls one of the books or two of the books. You can't really tell how many, a few, sideways, and then you can see the bookcase turn 180 degrees. Turns to an entire new set of books. And those books you instantly get the vibe from are supposed to be hidden. They're not supposed to be books that are instantly viewable for the naked eye. And you can see him take 2 or 3 books out of them, flick through them, like he's reading them, but really, really, really quickly. And then he either puts them aside or not. And then he ends up with just one book, and he walks over to you. And he says, I don't know what your expertise is yet. That we're here to find out. But I have here a book on society's first rules, and of course, the agreements that we've all made. Other than not breaking the masquerade, rules of hospitality and such.
Of course.
Kindred laws, as we speak. It's just a simple law book, but I think will get you started on knowing what and what not to do. As a first start, if you finish this, I have more.
Of course. I'm always up for some reading when I'm not working.
Really? This is something you enjoy?
Partially, although being as new considered to others, it seems.
Well,
I
new in
am,
the city.
yeah, I am rather well versed in the modern world.
That will be interesting. I do not consider myself well versed in the modern world. I do find computers and very technical gadgets to be a tedious thing to get through. But I understand they are the necessity of prosperity. And he walks over to the same bookcase, is still turned, and he gets another book and then puts it away because it's really big and heavy. And then takes out a way smaller book. He's like, okay. And you can see it is been written by a well-known Malkavian. As soon as he hands you the books,
Yep.
And it's just a book on simple, basic clan lore.
Ah, that will also be amusing to read.
It will help you understanding the things that we have to go through sometimes,
course.
and the places we need to hide, not only physically but sometimes mentally.
I am partially aware of where to hide mentally by now.
That is a great start. There are many techniques and many ways of exploring. We have many others that have tried to understand that what seems to be understandable, of unobtainably understandable. I do believe that it will help in connecting with others like myself. If
I hope,
you
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I hope it will be able to help me as well in learning and finding my way here.
So do I. He then walks over to another side of the bookcases, some more common books, and simply gets out a book, a simple book, and he places it on top of the other 3 books. And it's simply a book about Dublin. Also read that. I found it quite interesting when I first learned the histories of Dublin.
Yes, of course. Knowing the country, or well, the area, is a good idea as well.
Also, how many languages do you speak?
As of now, I speak 3 languages.
Which are those?
Uh, Danish, German, and English.
Interesting. Danish, like Hamlet.
Almost.
Right. Right, you are from Denmark. I forgot. Right. Well, if I find the urge to learn Danish, I might call upon you.
Of course.
Right, right. Is there anything else? And he walks over to his desk. He starts fidgeting through some papers. And he then seems to pick up something like some sort of cube. You notice it's some kind of Rubik's Cube. And he starts twisting and turning it, trying to solve it. He seems to be in his own world for a few moments. Then he suddenly snaps out and he's like, "Yeah, that was it. I think you can go now."
Okay.
Have you met with our Primogen yet?
I don't believe I have, so.
It's Mr. Wordsworth.
Of course.
He's a Primogen of quite high standing. At least he was. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him around for a while. He is a very well educated and wise man, and should definitely be respected at all times.
Of course.
Good.
I'll do my best to be as respectful as I can.
Good. Well, off you go then.
Thank you.
And he starts escorting you out all the way to the front door again. The women are not there at this point. However, as Rothschild himself opens the door for you, on the other side of the door is the old man waiting, like he hadn't moved at all.
Yep.
And as the wind picks up along the Rothschild estate, you can get back in the golf cart. And I think it's about time we end this scene.
Indeed.
Thank you for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. I wish you all a very good day.